What do sharks take away from encounters with us? What can we learn about ourselves? We have traveled far beyond our origins. Most of us spend our days amid the swirl of cities, weaving through the concrete and the chaos of modern life. And yet long ago we lived in the trees, where we looked to the horizon for signs of danger or connection. Our venturing spirit drew us beyond the forest, to the savanna, and to the water's edge. With our upright posture, we waded into shallow water. In time, with our long limbs, we learned to swim, to hold our breath and dive down. In modern times, we have found new ways to enter the ocean realm. We are driven by a primordial instinct to explore, to cross new frontiers. Humans are the planet's top predator. But in the ocean, it's sharks that lord over the cycles of life and death. To swim with sharks is to glimpse the deep past. Sharks predate dinosaurs by several 100 million years. With their distinctive form and sophisticated senses, they have managed to survive multiple mass extinctions. In their world, we are part of the food chain. Through a fading screen of bubbles, a shark moves quickly and effortlessly through its liquid world. It approaches, attracted by our electronics, our noisy breathing, and even a diver's heartbeat. In some cases, it's the bait we toss into the water, where the scent quickly disperses. We come to observe, to marvel at one of nature's crowning achievements. But don't assume the sharks feel the same way about us. Generally, sharks want nothing to do with humans. They seem to understand that we are dangerous to them. While we work to overcome our fears, our instincts to flee, the sharks must overcome their own natural caution. Over their millions of years of evolution, sharks have fine-tuned the instincts and techniques that improve their chances of success. In the open water, most sharks do not simply bite what's in front of them. Instead, they often bump into potential prey, like a human, to find out whether it's edible. They are cautious and calculating, and strike only when the time and the target are right. If there's a single greatest hotspot for sharks, it's the Bahamas. Some 40 distinct species live here. The Caribbean reef shark is perhaps the most graceful and approachable. Visit one of countless shipwrecks around the islands, and you can be surrounded by dozens of reef sharks, eager to check out the latest human visitors. One offers a window into the life of a shark. This male reef shark appears to flash a crooked smile. It was probably injured by a fishhook during a narrow escape from man. For most sharks, a broken jaw is a death sentence. It simply cannot hunt. But its comrades can. Reef sharks often display a pack mentality. Broken jaw and all, this shark makes a decent living from scraps of prey caught by other sharks. Not all sharks are so non-threatening. Off the Pacific coast of Baja California lies Isla Guadalupe, a volcanic outcropping 35 kilometers long and 9 kilometers wide. Only about 200 people live here. Mostly fishing families that come and go with the seasons. The barren landscapes, denuded by goats brought here long ago by whalers, are in stark contrast to the rich seas that swirl around the island. Its shores offer resting and rookery spaces for sea lions, elephant seals, and fur seals. They come here to feed in deep Pacific waters. Divers come here to glimpse one of nature's ultimate predators. In these turbid waters, it can appear as if from nowhere. To a diver in the protective confines of a cage, the shark appears to levitate, gliding slowly, silently past. The white shark is one of the most powerful, dangerous, and unpredictable sharks on the planet. The white shark blends in with the ocean. With its dark top, it is camouflaged against the dark waters below. It goes unnoticed by prey looking down from the ocean surface. From below, its white underbelly blends with the bright sunlight. Adding to its sinister appearance, the great white appears to always be on the lookout for prey, ready to strike at any moment. Whether they are feeding or resting, sharks keep a constant watch on what or who enters their underwater realm. They see us, but we usually do not see them. We come to beaches like this to master the sea. With our upright anatomy, we're tailor-made for hopping on a surfboard and shooting the curl. Our focus is the realm above the water, on wild rides amid blue skies and gusts of wind. With very little visibility into the water, a surfer is unaware of what lurks below. It's rare for sharks to attack a surfer, but they are there. In fact, these Galapagos sharks were filmed milling about in sun-filled shallows just offshore from one of the world's great surfing meccas in Hawaii. They may well be spending the day where the warmth of the upper ocean aids their digestion. At night, they are known to retreat into the ocean below, where they feed on deep-water creatures such as squid. Most of the ocean looks like these waters off Hawaii, mysterious and obscure. For thousands of miles, it's a virtual desert with no life and no food in sight. Wait long enough, and something will eventually rise up to get a closer look. In their primordial state, Before industrial-scale fishing took its toll, the oceans teemed with life. There are places where the oceans continue to harbor their former abundance. Nearly every ocean is dotted with underwater islands called seamounts. People rarely visit them. These extinct volcanoes are biological hotspots for all kinds of sea creatures. Their steep sides rise up from the ocean floor, thousands of feet below. Swirling around them, currents pull colder water, laden with nutrients, up to the sunlit surface. In the Pacific, where mountains meet the deep, you'll find the realm of the sea lion. These highly social creatures never tire of performing acrobatic maneuvers amid the shifting currents. They are curious and undaunted by the presence of a visitor from the surface. Their confidence comes from their long evolution. All pinnipeds, seals or sea lions, are thought to have descended from a class of otter-sized animals that lived in what's now the Canadian Arctic over 10 million years ago. Having evolved in the presence of sharks, they have developed a combination of agility and swiftness unmatched in the oceans. Sea lions are as curious as they are playful. We humans, slaves to gravity on land, can only marvel at their graceful movements through this glistening underwater universe. It's our technology that allows us to enter this realm, to study and observe the lives of these incredible creatures. Our technology allows us to venture as well into deep waters, where sharks are in command. Off Cat Island in the Bahamas is the last stronghold of the magnificent Oceanic white-tip shark. These open ocean rovers rarely venture into shallow water. Where they do come near land, it's to places like this, where offshore reefs plunge into the deep. Oceanic whitetips are known for incredibly long paddle-like fins, which help them glide effortlessly over long distances. Don't let their serene appearance fool you. These aggressive and skillful hunters are often called the tricksters of the sea. Those white tips are part of an elaborate deception. Other fish may mistake the markings for a small school of baitfish. The fins move in unison, while the shark's dark body blends into the background. If a larger fish approaches, looking for prey, it might end up in the jaws of this large shark. Adding to the deception, the sharks often travel with black and white pilotfish. These tagalongs know that if they stick with this predator, they'll get scraps to eat, along with a measure of protection. And who will protect the sharks against the planet's most potent predator? This oceanic whitetip has a hook embedded in its pectoral fin, a sign of the uneasy coexistence between sharks and man. Most likely, the hook was attached to a game fish, like a mahi-mahi or a marlin. The shark may have stolen it from a fisherman's line, but came away with a hook lodged in its fin. There may be hope in our growing familiarity with these magnificent creatures. Oceanic whitetips can seem slow and graceful. As a result, divers have become more and more interested in coming into the water to observe them up close. It also works the other way around. We have conditioned them to show up at popular shark dive sites like this. The sharks learn that they can arrive at certain locations at certain times of the year and have a fish handed to them without having to hunt for it. In the future, interactions like this may help build support for protecting them. Oceanic whitetips may be dangerous, but they don't have quite the reputation of tiger sharks. Divers know them as placid, beautiful sharks, until they're not. Tiger sharks are responsible for the second most attacks on humans. But the number of people they've bitten is far outweighed by all the other things they eat. Fish, turtles, sea snakes, birds, other sharks, plastic bottles, and garbage. There's almost nothing a tiger shark won't try. Contrary to what most people think, sharks tend to stay away from humans, unless there's food around. In this case, both converge on a pig carcass that had washed into the sea. We humans often see sharks in one-dimensional terms, as single-minded in their pursuit of food, and as indiscriminate killers. In fact, like us, they each have their own personalities. Some are bold, others are shy. Some are erratic and unpredictable. Others are steady. For divers, it's best to be extremely cautious and gain their trust slowly. Some divers have noted that female tiger sharks are more relaxed and less aggressive than males. They are also larger. This female has been given the nickname Curly. If a diver remains calm, but stands his or her ground, the shark offers a measure of respect. If the diver does not flee, he or she will not trigger the shark's predatory instincts. Because Curly keeps coming around in a relaxed state, it's likely because curiosity is getting the better of her. In this case, she and the others repeatedly swim past the bait in favor of tactile human interaction. Humans swimming with sharks, interacting, learning about each other. This is a rare scene in so many ways. Perhaps no shark is as weirdly and mysteriously customized as the great Hammerhead. It is incredibly agile and serpentine in its quick movements. A huge dorsal fin and stretched out snout allow it to fine-tune its movements. To see a hammerhead swim by is to realize how inventive nature can be. Theory has it that these sharks evolved their wide snouts to increase the potency of senses, such as smell and sight. Researchers believe that the separation between their eyes enhances their peripheral and binocular vision. It's not clear how much they can see right in front of their faces. They have other senses to fill in the missing information. Like all sharks, hammerheads have special pores along their heads that detect minute electrical fields. They know when their prey is close, even when they can't see it. Hammerheads have more sensory neurons than most other sharks. They use them to scan the ocean bottom for stingrays and other prey that may be hiding in the sand. True to their name, they are also known to use their head like a hammer to pin down their prey so they can consume it. A hammerhead's leftovers are a nice addition to a nurse shark's menu. They have very small, blunt teeth, so they'll never become savage killers. But they have a secret weapon. They act as vacuum cleaners, sucking small creatures or food scraps into their mouths. When it comes to survival in the ocean, there are no guarantees. Sharks, like most other creatures, learn to take what they can get. When we enter the oceans, we too are subject to the dynamism and overwhelming power of this alien realm. You can see that in shipwrecks that are scattered across sea floors the world over. Once, this was a bustling sea-going vessel. The ocean has repurposed it as a reef, as a kind of post-apocalyptic home for sea creatures. It's a clear reminder that people aren't made for this environment. We are not meant to stay. At least one marine mammal has found its own break from the turbulence of the ocean. Every winter, hundreds of manatees find their way into Florida's spring-fed rivers. Here, at Crystal River, 30 natural springs release 300 million gallons of water each year. They keep temperatures constant at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Manatees come here to relax and socialize. In a few spots, humans allow themselves in to interact with these creatures in what can be a life-changing experience. manatees are known as sea cows because of their slow movements and vegetarian diets. It's remarkable that an animal this big, this slow and gentle, can survive in this harsh world. At winter's end, they move back to the ocean. Because of their size, manatees are generally not threatened by sharks. The elephant seal is not so lucky. It happens to be a favorite target of the great white shark. A northern elephant seal weighs in at more than 3,000 pounds. For a shark, just one successful attack brings a huge reward. They kill dozens each year just off Guadalupe Island. Like most ocean creatures, they are shy around humans. But if you spend time, you can gain their trust. And let mutual curiosity play out. Elephant seal eyes are so human-like, they draw you in. There is an intelligence that's easy to sense. You have to wonder, what experiences have shaped its life? What does it really think of us? You'd never guess from their appearance, but on the sand, an elephant seal can outrun a human. When they go out to sea, they can dive to depths of 5,000 feet and hold their breath for an hour. Elephant seals have to exhale before each dive to reduce the air in their lungs. They survive on oxygen stored in their bloodstream. Pinnipeds like the elephant seal are thought to have evolved in tandem with the largest and most dangerous predatory shark. The great white. One of the best places to find them is here in the Southern Ocean, where fur seals gather along the coast of South Africa. Here the water is cold and murky. Great whites are perfectly suited to conditions like this, with adaptations that warm the blood moving to their brains and hearts. Great whites are specialized surface hunters. They can raise their heads above the water to see what's going on around them. Watching and waiting within sight of the surface, it looks for seals heading out to sea to hunt. All of its senses are coordinated in the attack, usually before the prey even knows it's there. Watching them swim just below the surface from a boat can seem a safe perspective. It may not be. Here, a curious individual comes in to get a look at what's in the boat. Best to keep it in its world, so you can stay in yours. To photograph a great white means taking a risk. Making calm, slow movements is crucial. They can sense panic or fear. If a diver acts like prey, it's more likely to become prey. Because of their strength and ferocity, a great white can afford to be curious, to check out a human visitor at close range. This shark bears witness to encounters with other great whites. Its fin is half bitten off. Was it attacked? Did it find itself in a fight over prey or a seal carcass? A white shark may live 70 years or longer. With their adaptations to the cold, They occupy one of the largest ranges of any fish in the ocean. What do they see or experience over a lifetime of hunting, mating, and migrating? We, as creatures of the land and the air, enter the alternate universe of the ocean with questions we may never fully answer. Imagine yourself in this scene. All around, sharks have moved in, confident within their own three-dimensional realm. The human visitor does not threaten, and instead offers food. The sharks look, touch, smell, and read the diver's vital signs. The visitor looks up at the silhouette of a boat, so near yet so far. The mood down here can shift quickly, becoming dangerous. The air in our tanks puts a strict limit on the time we can spend with the sharks. Then we must return to the surface realm, leaving the sharks to their lives and world. As we return to our own world, we ponder the lives of these magnificent and ancient creatures of the sea.
Yeah! Shark ate the fin cap and we got it back! Alright, let's check this footage. I'll download it, we'll do it again.